Yo, what's up, everybody? Another weird one, right? Feral Druid. Yeah, Feral Druid is pretty favorite of the month right now. Extremely powerful. So I figured I would just chip in and give some people some information they might not already have. If there's another Feral Druid guy, I was looking while I was doing all these, I was looking for other YouTube guides, and there's kind of a shortage of PvP guides this expansion from what I've seen. I don't know if things aren't showing up well from YouTube search engine or because like one of them, and I'm not trying to throw shade, but one of them that was really had some of the most views. I checked PvP and it's like, huh, this guy doesn't really play this class very often. And I was like, well, neither do I, but I'm already 600 points higher. I'm not even going to say a name. I'm not trying to be that guy, but it was weird. I don't know. You can tell me in the comments. Is there a shortage of PvP information? Are people that are really good just not doing a good enough job showing off their videos so people watch it? I have no idea. But anyway, here's mine. And if it helps, great. And if there's a better one from a feral that's gone to BlizzCon or multi-rank 1 somewhere out there, then that's also going to be a good source of information. Just try and find as many sources of information you can until you find something that helps you push rating, because that's it. That's the only goal. So let's dive into it. Right now I'm about 2644 in Blitz, but again, like 2850 MMR on Feral. It's insane. It wins every 1v1 in the game. It can pad in team fight with the same build. The same build that can 1v1 any class in the game can also pad in team fight to unstoppable bleed damage. It's great. It's great. So I'll show you. I have to show you. I have to. So here we go. We got the Wild Stalker build. This is the one class I don't have crazy class fantasy names for, and I really just have the one build for you because it does everything. Again, it wins 1v1s, it single targets FCs down in seconds, it destroys orb carriers, and it pads in team fights all on the same build, and you don't have to give up anything. They're all BIS talents. They're so good. So let's look at it. At the top, you've got just core abilities and core cooldowns, of course, but one of them that should be very important that you look at is Primal Wrath, which gives you AoE Rip. You want to press this more often than you think in team fights because if you don't have Rip on somebody, you should get Rip on somebody. That is your top dam, and it procs Ferocious Bite procs, which gives you free combo pointless max dam Ferocious Bites, which means you don't even need to spend your combo points on Bite if you're getting those procs, right? So, Primal Wrath, every single time you can get this on multiple people, you'll want to get this on multiple people. So remember this ability. Then you have AoE Rake, which is really nice. And then you've just got a bunch of modifiers here. Infected Wounds, we're going to come back to that later in the PvP down section, but just take a look at that. Rip damage increase, then this is Ferocious Bite damage increase. I want to show you the proc bite damage right here is Apex Predator's Craving, which means all those AoE rips you're throwing out each have a chance to proc a free Ferocious Bite that deals the maximum damage. So when you get AoE rips on everybody, you get bites spammable for free, max dam. Love that, right? And then you have the extra length of these dots, so people continue to rot in every team fight, and you can kite or survive in bear form, and you'll still have those big bleeds on people, right? That's going to be a lot of things that happen in BG Blitz. On this left side, you're going to have extra Brutal Slash damage, and Brutal Slash is what you change Swipe into with this talent right here, Brutal Slash. This is non-negotiable. This is so good because Swipe doesn't really do that much, but Brutal Slash with 3 charges actually hits harder than Shred, and it's AoE. And it does more damage against bleeding targets, and you have AoE Rip to make everybody a bleeding target, so you just have this Brutal Slash that generates combo points. It's pretty much your main spender. It's even more of a main spender than Shred is because it does just as much damage, but AoEs. So Brutal Slash, non-negotiable. You'll be pressing this all the time whenever you want to generate. And then you just have mods. You have Lunar Inspiration is great for BG Blitz, and I think for arenas. It's just extra rot damage. It complements your bleeds very well by giving you yet another dot, and then all of those dots are buffed by Circle of Life and Death, so the more dots you have, the better. Also, your Mastery includes Lunar Inspiration now, so you have Rake, Bleed, Rip, Bleed, Feral Frenzy, Bleed, and then Lunar Inspiration, Moonfire, and all of these things are buffed by Circle and Life and Death. So yeah, tons of extra dots there and mods for all of them. Tiger's Fury buffs. Tiger's Tenacity is the choice here because you don't actually need the cooldown reduction on Tiger's, or rather the cooldown extension of Tiger's Fury, because it already lasts so long, and I have a silly PvP talent that I use that I'm surprised more people haven't used, but I've gotten a ton of value out of it. If you can reduce the cooldown on Tiger's Fury, you can get access to this Tiger's Tenacity pretty much all the time, where you're restoring combo points to give you free combo point generators so you can get more rips out or you can bite more often. And it also just gives you a huge extra amount of damage from the second part of Tiger's Tenacity. And every single time you press Tiger's Fury, this happens, and you can reduce the cooldown by this PvP talent we'll talk about very soon. Okay, then you just have more damage modifiers. Feral Frenzy is a huge single target bleed that gives you full combo points, so you can do that immediately into bite or AoE rip. Incarn is just, it's just huge. It's just massive. Look at all the things that it does. Effectively, what it does is it generates combo points for free, giving you even more spenders, and it gives you maximum increased damage for the entire duration of Incarn. So, huge button. When you pop this, you are effectively unlivable in your 1v1 situations. Adaptive Swarm is yet another periodic effect modifier, which scales with Lunar Inspiration and Rip and Rake, and then of course Circle of Light and Death and Feral Frenzy. So when you get all of your bleeds out on somebody and then you have Circle of Life and Adaptive Swarm on them, they are taking unhealable damage passively. Passively, they're taking it passively. It's unmitigatable, unpeelable, unkiteable damage. Wow, disgusting. And there's effectively the tree. You get this entire middle row that gives you, there's extra haste here. You get the cooldown reduction on Incarn. You get Berserk Frenzy. This is crazy. Every single time you spend a combo point generating ability, you can bleed the target, which is going to scale with all of your bleed mods, as we just talked about. You have so many damage over time effects, modifiers. And then it's 150% of the damage, so it actually does more than the original ability itself did. And you know, it's crazy. Brutal Slash is a combo point generating ability, and it's AoE. So now you have yet another source of rot damage on everybody in single target or AoE situations. Oh my god. And that's during every Incarn. That's why you run Incarn to do as max damage during those windows as humanly possible. Then, of course, you have Wild Stalker, which just gives you pretty much passive extra dots onto the things you're already doing. Rip and Rake damage. Well, guess what? We talked about that. You're going to have that on every target all the time. Gives you yet another bleed. Multiple instances of these can overlap, which means that bleed can stack up to extreme intensity. It just gives you a flat damage mod whenever those Bloodseeker Vines are out. And then you grab the things that give you more Bloodseeker's Vines. So when you gain or lose Tiger's Fury, that's going to be all the time, and that's why I run this silly Savage Momentum. Again, we'll get to that soon, but the more often you're activating Tiger's Fury, the more often you're getting Bloodseeker Vine, and when you lose it, you're getting a Bloodseeker Vine, and then you gain it again, and you get another Bloodseeker Vine, and it just continues to grab this extra dot damage, which is affected by, once again, every single dot modifier that you have. And just gives you passive 5% more damage. Then you have some modifiers in the Wild Stalker tree to your major abilities. The only thing that I don't think I've ever used is Lethal Preservation. I don't have the talents that utilize this, and I looked at the best feral that I see in BG Blitz. His name is Ray, and he doesn't run those talents either. So unfortunately, you get one dead talent, but you're sacrificing that one dead talent for extremely high value to all of your dot damage. And then even more damage increase from each Bloodseeker Vine. And again, you're getting so many extra Bloodseeker Vines because you have Implant. And then it's going to do another damage mod from Vigorous Creepers. So damage mod plus more dots plus more dot mods. Bada boom. Okay, so that's the Wild Stalker build. Then we go over to the left side and you get the standard cap form stuff. This is all cap form stuff. It's your stun, it's your movement speed, it's Rake and Rip, it's physical damage. These are all non-negotiable. This is Primal Fury. It's combo point generator. You've got your walls, Frenzied Regen, Barkskin, big heal from Barkskin and Frenzied Regen, damage taken debuff, or damage reduction rather, buff, which is really nice because you're going to be in so many 1v1 situations. You want to take as little damage as possible. Wild Charge is mobility. Barkskin is more survivability. This entire row is focused around cat form stuff and Barkskin stuff and survivability, and you get an extra proc Frenzied, which also gives you Verdant Heart. And you get Bash, or you can have Incap Roar for Incap Clone. AoE Incap Roar also spins or peels multiple people at the same time, but you could just Bash Clone or Bash people for kill. Heart of the Wild gives you a monstrous bear form with all of these other bear buffs that you have in the tree. Just gives you huge Frenzied and pretty much unfathomable survivability. I actually run improved Stampeding Roar because I was trying out, and it does actually work, Freedom of the Herd. You have short cooldown and then AoE Root Clear. and snare from you and your partners. I think this should be used more in BG Blitz. This combination, Freedom of the Herd plus improved Stampeding Roar. I think this should be used more in BG Blitz because an AoE root break on, look at this. It's only a 1 minute cooldown. It's a 1 minute cooldown for a max movement speed increase, root break and snare break on everybody around you. Do you have any idea how good that would be for kiting when you have the flag in your hands or getting from one base to another? If you just got something in deep wind, you can get your entire team out of there instantly, or appealing to another base that's about to be lost. It gets your healers out of team fight if they need it. It gets your healers into team fight if they need it with you. On Twin Peaks and Warsong Gulch, it is none. It's not arguable how valuable it is. It is arguable that you don't have to run it. I have already seen the top ferals not run it. So when I say I think everybody should be trying this, it's because I believe in its power to be good, not because I know that all the top ferals are running it. So it is negotiable, but it's not arguable how it has value on Warsong and Twin Peaks, because you could have 5 people next to you, and there's frost mages in the game, and that is an AoE frost mage root break, slow break, movement speed increase that could get you all up tunnel in 5 seconds, and all of a sudden they were like, what happened? We just had their entire team peeled and slowed, and now they're all gone, right? So this combination of 1 minute improved Stampeding Roar with Freedom of the Herd is crazy, and I think more people should be trying it. So I do. Then you got Renewal, which is a huge self-heal. You just really want to put this in Bear because it's a percentage of your maximum health, and Bear gives you more maximum health, especially when combined with Ursine Vigor, which gives you even more maximum health. You can see how the Bear form survives. And look at that, stamina and Bear form is increased by 10%. So you go into Bear form, and all of a sudden your health jumps up in a massive amount. 4.5 to 7 mil, and don't even talk about it when it's in PvP combat. It's going to be like 7 mil to 12. Absolutely insane. And then you want a Renewal on that for the big heal. Then you've got Rising Light, Falling Night, which is just survivability or damage, depending on which one you have, or both actually, for both, because it's damage and healing, or Verse, which is damage and healing. So, and then you have Natural Recovery, which is more survivability, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And Ursula's Vortex and Clone, these are your CC options, and Ursula's Vortex can help a running flag carrier or somebody trying to peel for a base. You have this nice pullback paired with a slow, and it's AoE. So on a 1 minute cooldown, this is really, really high utility. So you've got great utility options, great CC, immense survivability, and some extra damage options as well. And there you go. So PvP talents. We've got Wicked Claws. This is your Mortal Strike, and it also makes your slow more intense. I told you we would talk about that in a second. It is Infected Wounds. This is a movement speed slow that turns into a higher stacking movement speed slow and a MS effect. So 20% healing reduction. Freedom of the Herd paired with improved Stampeding Roar is what I was just talking about. And yes, I do believe in it, but you can also run Molar and Swiftness and get across the map very easily. And then this is the silly one. And I'm sold. I'm sold on this. Interrupting a spell with Skull Bash reduces the remaining cooldown of Survival Instincts, Dash, and Tiger's Fury. That's your major offensive that has hero talent buffs in it. Like this does Tiger's Tenacity, and it does the Tiger's Fury buff here, and then you have that other Tiger's Fury buff implant, right? So getting this off cooldown is massive, and guess what? In BG Blitz, there's always someone casting. So you can kick them twice and reset your cooldown on Tiger's Fury, because people are always casting. If you land a kick, this already has insane value, and it's also getting your wall back up and your dash back up. And you know what you also need in BG Blitz? Mobility. So do I think this is a super good arena talent? Yes, but I won't be able to convince anybody to run that. But I mean, your wall is good and your Tiger's Fury is good in arena, so I swear they could run it. But, you know, if 15 times rank 1 Feral doesn't want to run this, I concede. But in BG Blitz, the access to extra dash, the access to big wall, and the access to perma Tiger's Fury, no less, is so insane. And I run it every single time. And I'm really happy with it, because getting my Tiger's Fury back up just gives me more burst windows and wins more 1v1s and all this good stuff. Imagine playing in a 1v1 against somebody like a mage, doing your entire go, they use everything to possibly save it, then you kick them and get your Tiger's Fury back up and kill them. Oh, it's so satisfying. Okay. So, but yeah, obviously you have Ferocious Wound that was recently nerfed. Malorn Swiftness is a crazy survivability, or rather mobility option, sorry. Strength of the Wild is a crazy survivability option if you're ever going to have to be an FC. I actually put together an FC build that runs Strength of the Wild. And we combine that with all the bear talents we were talking about before. It gives you huge damage reduction. You have some PvP, some arena rather, things like Tireless Pursuit and High Winds. The High Winds is now a Cyclone range increase, which is pretty nice. I think it's better for Boomkin though. But it's probably primarily BG Blitz focused, as that's what I've been doing the most of, and that's what I have got all my experience in. And as a result, I mean, this build, by the way, is arena approved. I mean, you're going to just crush people in arena, but the PvP talent setup that I talked about there, the Stampeding Roar with AoE Root Break, is clearly a BG Blitz option. But feel free to run the more obvious arena choices. Although after Ferocious Wound is nerfed, this was kind of picked a lot. That's why they nerfed it. I do think Feral might need like a damage nerf, but they nerfed this instead. So maybe you actually have some freedom with PvP talents now that that's nerfed. Okay, gearing. Mastery versus haste. I don't even know if it's mastery versus haste. And then I have to get the 4-set. I haven't converted my last piece yet. So actually, wow, that could be a cool teaching point. Let's do it together. So this is how I choose this could be fun. What 4-set pieces to run, right? And you can do this now. You have the knowledge right here, right now, because you go to item sets and you go to the tier set maker and you take a look. This says main stat crit. Is crit my best stat? No. Haste mastery, already have it. Perfect. Haste mastery, already have it. Perfect. Haste first, already have it. Perfect. So what's better? Main stat crit or off stat crit with main stat mastery? Well, I think you know which one it is. It's obviously main stat mastery, off stat crit. And now for free, because you're only having to get an off stat crit piece, you get an entire 4-set. So I recommend going 4-set on Feral, right? Because you have 3 BIS pieces and one that's nearly BIS with your main stat being your best stat, which is mastery. And you just get a 4-set. Now it's crit based, but you get the critical strike chance you need from Tiger's Fury. And I already showed you how you might have near perma Tiger's Fury up with this silly build. And then those critical strikes that you're getting from Tiger's Fury are going to give you extra Ferocious Bite damage. And Ferocious Bite damage is a huge chunk of your burst damage, so now you get more of it. And now you just saw my process in real time. I'm so glad I didn't have that piece. You take a look at the tier set generator, you say, how good are the stats that I'm getting? Okay, on 3 of the pieces, it's insane. So that means I only have 1 piece that's bad, but it's not really even bad because it's main stat mastery. Okay, 4-set is good. And that's the process. As for embellishments, I went versatility because I am 1v1ing everywhere. And also because it makes me more tanky when I have the flag in my hands, or I have to sit a base and just live long enough for somebody to get there. Or when I'm just in a team fight, just delivering the pain and silver shard, not dying in that situation to pad as much as possible is super good. So that's double. Woven Dusk Thread on waist and boots. You can see gives you verse when you're over a higher percentage of health, and you can get that health back because you have a ton of self-healing on Feral, getting you back into that range and giving you verse. And verse and mastery are your 2 best stats, followed up by haste, and then of course your worst stat is crit. And as a result, I have verse mastery with that. That is the Harmonious Missive with Woven Dusk Thread versatility proc. You have verse mastery with the weapon, verse mastery, you get the theme here. And then I haven't upgraded my necklace yet, but it will be verse mastery when I get it. We got the verse mastery helm, and I actually got the 5% damage reduction when affected by crowd control gem, because Feral can die in stuns. And if I pre-bear something and have this gem, I become completely immortal, which yet again, what have I talked about so many times? Winning 1v1s. What are you going to be 1v1ing? Rogues. What do rogues do? Stun. Is the thought process in a nutshell, right? So this gem has been a godsend to me. Just all the verse and the survivability talents and the crazy wall reduction cooldown PvP talent, and then your damage reduction, your pre-bear, and your Ursine's Vigor, and your Frenzied Regen, and your Renewal. All of this stuff combines together to make you the god of 1v1s. So let's talk about this rotation. Okay. You prowl. You open with Rake Stun. You get your combo points from Tiger's Fury, popping your one-shot macro, which is going to be Tiger's Fury Incarn, and Berserking, because I'm a troll, but you can put whatever racial you have in here or any other effects, but you can see Incarn, Tiger's Fury, and then Berserking, because I'm a troll, gives you extra haste there. Rake Stun, pop the one-shot macro. Feral Frenzy, 4, 5 combo points, use the AoE Rip, then you buff all of your bleeds and dots at the same time with Adaptive Swarm, get a Moonfire out there, and then start spamming Bite. Again, that is Prowl up to them. Rake hits 2 targets, so that's AoE Rake, Feral Frenzy with the Tiger's Fury one-shot, AoE Rip, Adaptive Swarm, grab a Moonfire, then Brutal Slash, Bite, Brutal, Brutal, Bite, Brutal, Brutal, Bite, Brutal, Brutal, Bite. Okay, let's take a look at what it looks like here. First, get that Rake Stun, pop everything off, get the AoE Rip, Moonfire, Bite, Brutal, Bite, Brutal, Bite, Brutal, Bite, Brutal, Bite. Of course, you can Prowl, get a Re-Rake Stun in there, AoE Rip. Make sure to have those Moonfires out when you can. You can AoE Moonfire as well. It's another source of pretty high damage. Bite, Brutal. It's just an alternate. Brutal, Brutal, Bite, Brutal, Brutal, Bite. Cleaves everybody around you. You can see there's that Frenzied Assault I was talking about. AoE Rip, AoE Rake, bites over and over, and Brutal Slash damage. And there's your Bursting Growth and your Bloodseeker Vines for even more dot damage. I'll show you that one more time, this time without Incarn, just to really go over. Again, it's this Rake, AoE Rake. You get Rake on everything, right? You could even Rake everything up. Then you get this out, Adaptive Swarm, AoE Rip, Feral Frenzy, Bite. You've got Bite procs that look like this. And that just gives you an insta-bite. You can see my combo points did not change. Max damage Bite. And that's what it looks like. Remember to keep Rake, Rip, and Moonfire on as many things as you possibly can. If you're in single target, you keep the Moonfire on the single target. If you're in an AoE fight, over the long course of the fight, like you can even see it on the, you can dot this up, you can just double Rake, AoE Rip, look at all those rips. Moonfire, Moonfire, AoE Rake, get the Bite out, Adaptive Swarm out, Moonfire again, Bite out. All right, now you have, look at your dots. Rips, Rakes, Moonfires, and it just rots people super hard. And that's just what you do. In team fights, I've done 500k DPS to stand on a Silver Shard. Absolutely disgusting. That's like half block damage, by the way, with a Feral Druid. So you saw a Feral Druid single target. And in 1v1s, if you go to my stream, you can actually just do that burst rotation that I just showed you. I did it to a DK who's sitting a base. And he died through wall before he... before my first row of dots came off. Like I just opened on him. You just do your entire set of dots, and then he dies through wall, through everything, and the same set of dots were on him. So I could have probably just ran out. You just ran out, get a Bite proc, wild charge back in, Bite again. It's just insane your 1v1 potential. And you can beat rogues too. You have walls for their answers, for their goes, right? You have answers for their goes. Bark Skin you can use in stun, which is fantastic against rogue. Trinket wall if you need to. This is a 60% wall on Frenzy Regen. And then you have bleeds, which they would have to get off them, but then once their cloak is down, if they're running the physical cloak, then they have 1 out. If they're not running the physical cloak, they have 0 outs for your bleeds, and you just become a rogue killer. And that's what I've done with Feral so far. 2850 MMR. We still need some more Qs to catch up with my CR. It's super fun, and you should try it. I hope this helped in any way at all, and let me know if you have any other comments to talk about. Thank you, and GG's.